Hi, and welcome to the Flute Talk podcast, where we talk about all things flute and answer your questions live on YouTube. If you want to help us out, be sure to subscribe to our channel and add us to your podcast feed over on iTunes or Google Play. And if you want to represent TFC, head over to our merch store for t-shirts, stickers, mugs, and posters. You can go to designbyhumans.com/shop/theflutechannel.
We all need sheet music, and we're proud to announce that we're working with Sheet Music Plus, home of the world's largest sheet music selection, and is a proud sponsor of the Flute Channel. Listeners will receive 15% off their order with the coupon code TFC15. So be sure to go and check out Sheet Music Plus for all your sheet music needs. And the coupon is good until July 31st, 2018.
Finally, if you're looking into buying a new flute, be sure to check out the Flute Center of New York at flutesforsale.com. With our code TFC at checkout, you'll be able to try up to 3 flutes or piccolos for 10 days, and whichever instrument you choose, you get an extended 18th month warranty on it. So be sure at checkout to put in the special code TFC at flutesforsale.com. Now on with the show.
Hi everybody, welcome to the Flute Talk podcast. I'm Nick.
And I'm Amelie.
How's it going, Emily?
Very good, how are you?
Good. So yeah, we got plenty of things to talk about today, but the main thing was about talking about starting or returning as an adult, and we get a lot of people like that. And I was wondering for you, like when you have some adult students sometimes, and we can talk a little about that and like things that you notice in between all of them, or things you don't, you only notice in particular people. And also you can let us know in the comments. You can leave us questions about this topic or about anything about the flute, and we'll be sure to answer them. We already got a few in the pipeline already.
Did you want to start with the...
Yeah, what we were talking about before, but just to let everybody know. Yeah.
Yeah, well, okay. You mean, what do you want to know? Like the difference that I see between kids and adults, or...
That could be one aspect too, for sure. I think that's interesting too, like what... how maybe they learn a bit differently. Maybe there's a different way of approaching them.
Yeah. Well, for me, learning is learning in a way. But I think sometimes for adults, it's a very courageous thing. Because adults are usually used to be good at what they do most of the time. So... for a kid, he goes to school, he's learning how to write, how to read, how to do math. He's making mistakes. He's learning everything. He's not really mastering anything yet. So kids are already in that state.
Right.
But adults, let's say at your work, you usually don't make many mistakes if you want to keep it. People are usually good at what they do.
Sure.
But then they put themselves in this situation that is more vulnerable. And I think sometimes some adults, I feel, might judge themselves a bit harshly.
Okay.
And maybe they're not patient enough with themselves, I think, because they also sometimes I feel adults think that kids learn faster than them. And they think, oh, I'm too old now, I can't learn. And it's not exactly true. Some things kids will learn faster, but some things adults learn faster. Because concepts, a kid at some age, you can't understand certain concepts. It's a question of where you are in your development. It's a developmental... There are stages in development, and there are concepts you can't understand before a certain age. So for concepts, sometimes with adults it's a bit easier. I think adults sometimes they try to control too much.
Okay.
And judge themselves too much. Because they can learn very well. It's just that thing maybe of remembering what it is to just let go of wanting to be perfect. That's how I perceive it. And when they do, they stop judging themselves. Right. Usually they learn very well.
How are, like, for me, like, I wonder, like, with adults, like, what are the things you notice they're the most strong at when they first begin? Like, are there things that most of them usually kind of get that you're always kind of surprised, like, oh, most of my adult students kind of get rhythm a bit better than, or maybe
like reading notes, usually they do that quickly, they understand that quickly, and they're used to reading in general usually, so for them it's probably easier than for little kids. It's not that easy, to recognize all those notes on the staff.
Yeah, totally. Especially
they're
if you've never seen it
beginners,
before. If
you
you've
know.
never seen it before, you're like, what is this? Right. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And rhythm, it depends. But I try not to be shy to do the same exercises I would do with a kid for rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
Because rhythm is rhythm, and we're all human beings, no matter what the age is. And rhythm is a very physical thing that you have to feel. So there's not that many ways to learn how to feel it, you know, and then understanding it. I don't teach that differently between adults and kids. I don't.
The lines really blur between each other. They're really kind of the same thing almost.
Personally, I don't know if there's people that have different opinions that want to share it, but you know, for me, it's more each person than their age group.
The individual.
Right. Because each person is different. You know, some people have.
They require different approaches for sure.
Yeah, and we all have our strengths and our weaknesses, and they're all different from one person to the other. I can have 2 5-year-olds, and I can have 2 45-year-olds. They're not going to be the same.
So do you find
that's why it's amazing to teach privately, so you can adapt to everyone.
Right. So do you find that you don't use one single cookie cutter type of method for each person, or is it something that really is different to each person because you have to know different ways of teaching them?
Well, I have like a path that I follow, but you know, I have to adapt to each person.
That's amazing. Yeah.
When I have a student, I try to look at the person and see, okay, really see that person. Because sometimes I think we are looking at ourselves in a way. Because I've had teachers that just repeat what they were told, like they're teaching themselves in a bit. Yeah. Like they're not really looking at you, and let's say they say,
they're projecting
push your shoulders
maybe.
down.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Don't let your shoulders go up. Push them down, because that thing helped them.
Yeah.
When they were a student, so they think everyone needs to hear that.
That's the thing they have to use. Yeah, because that's what. Yeah.
What tells me that's gonna help my student? I have to
Mm-hmm.
look at my student. It's a bit like a doctor has to examine you,
right,
and make a diagnosis,
and do a series of tests.
And then after the diagnosis, you can say what the medicine is. But we give medicine before diagnosis sometimes.
Right.
So I try to observe and see. What is the diagnosis? Because it's not a one-size-fits-all. Like, because my teacher told me that when I was 15, and it really helped me, it's going to help everyone. No, because some people don't have that difficulty I had, but might have other difficulties.
Right.
Yeah, so I try to really observe the student, and But I like adults because they have this understanding concept. They're usually motivated.
Right.
Yeah.
And they just they're kind of they're absorbing information differently, and they're looking at life a bit differently at a different pace.
Sometimes they're a bit more judgmental with themselves, and I think that's keeping them a bit sometimes, some of them, you know.
Right. And that's even with the professional musicians. A lot of professional musicians are very tough on themselves, or they listen to that inner voice.
There's an age where we start. There's even kids that do it.
Right, there are kids do it, but a lot of kids don't do it
but
though,
a lot of
right?
kids are in the playing type of mentality.
In the moment type of playing type of stuff, and then it slowly kind of changes. But that could be a whole other
But also it's because maybe with kids we feel, oh, they're kids.
Right. Yeah.
No, like the other day we saw an interview with that guy Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah, Gordon Ramsay, right.
And the person was telling him, oh, you're so nice with the kids but you're so rude with the adults or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, they're kids. What am I going to say to I'm not a monster.
Yeah, I'm not a monster.
I think adults put that. But if you just started, you're like a kid in a way. Like, we should always treat each other like we're
You're a debutante,
kids,
you know what I mean?
know?
Yeah, you're always...
You're always the little kid we were, I guess, you know?
Sure.
And you're learning something. You have to be... Yeah. But also, like, because you said some people that start as adults, so but I'm always impressed because adults can really learn from scratch. I've had students past 60 years old learning. They didn't know how to read a note, a rhythm, nothing.
Incredible.
And learn all the fingerings, all the notes, like we're able to read.
Wow.
Do scales, understand a little bit of theory, like I could have done more with them, but sometimes some people are not that interested in theory, so I just do what's really necessary to be able to play.
really get what they do.
So that, and then you have other people that have played.
Yeah,
a very high level.
Yeah, like high school, maybe a very high-end American high school, or a conservatory, or lessons for most of their teenage years.
And then they stopped.
Right.
Sometimes they continue to play, but without lessons. Sometimes they develop some bad habits, and then they get lessons again, and that's very interesting because, like, I've had a lot of students over 60. Right, over 50 and...
Over 60 and 50 years old, wow.
Yeah,
amazing.
A lot. And even if they had... Like, I've seen people that have had a bad habit for decades and they improve in a matter of weeks.
That's amazing.
Incredible. Like, our brain is an amazing thing. I'm always amazed when I teach people, like kids or adults.
Right.
Like, wow. Sometimes I just stop and I contemplate. And I'm like, this person knew nothing. And, like, it makes me a bit emotional. I love that. That's what and I'm like, wow, now this person can do all that. It's, like, we have to admire that.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
How
it's
we
true.
can learn. It's incredible. And it's beautiful. And sometimes maybe we don't think enough about that. We think about what we still have to learn and what...
Yeah.
And it's good, but... It's good to look back sometimes and say, wow, that's the road
that you took,
took, and I accomplished all that. But it's crazy. And even, they used to say, you don't make new neurons as an adult. And now they're discovering that it's not true. In some parts of the brain, you actually do. And also your brain is always changing and transforming. You always make new connections. And so you can learn all your life, anything you want to learn. It's just about being, I guess, how do you say that? Systematic.
Oh, yeah, systematic, Interesting. Let's go diving into the questions now. One question sort of relates to that. Is like, Zabeth444 wants to know, do you ever find that returning adults have learned bad habits that are difficult to unlearn?
Yeah, I've seen that, but difficult to unlearn. Once the person what is difficult, until the person doesn't see it and feel it, they're gonna still do it. How can I say that? My role as a teacher, or any teacher's role, I think, is to make the student aware of what... because I can tell you're pushing the air too much. Like, you start a note, and then you push the air. After you push air all the time, your airflow is not stable. You'll trust me. Right. But you'll still do it until you really feel it and hear it. So I feel the turning point is when the student really feels it and is aware. Like, 10 people can tell you you're doing something. It's not that you're not trusting them, but if you don't feel it, you're not going to improve. So that's where I find the point, the turning point is. The turning point is. And when I can really see it when the student, you have those moments. Oh, you're right. And that's always funny to me because I know I'm right. I've been saying that for a while. But now and when you feel it, that's why I think the mirror is so good. I think listening to yourself, or even sometimes I imitate my students. I will exaggerate what they're doing so that they can really hear. And then I say, now do it again. And you're right. I do this. Exactly. I will say, that's what you're doing, and now here I'm going to show you what I want you to do instead. So they have a point of reference, and they can really hear, because just saying to someone is not enough.
No, it's not. No, it's not at all.
So that's why sometimes it's difficult to change if you're not truly aware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So interesting. Diving in a little bit more about people who like, what are some like? There was one question by Victor Coco. He was asking what album should everybody have in their library that to listen to flute playing. You know, I know there's like great Baroque players. So if you want, what was it? Kuiken, like Kuijen, I think, something like that. Barthold Quagan or Kuijen,
he's the whole family is
that whole family is a very well known Baroque music. So music from the 15, 16, 17, or early, like essentially Bach and stuff like that, like Bach sonatas and stuff like that. Those are pretty good. There's Michel Dubos's live albums are good. He has a series of stuff that's really good. He has a series of 7 albums that are pretty good. And it has all the repertoire, most of the major repertoire.
I think that there's some compilations as well. Like if you don't want to get that many, there's compilations with different flutists and different classics of the flute.
Which some of them are very good.
Yeah, some of them are good because maybe you don't want to buy too many albums.
But if we were naming off all of our collection, it would take half an hour. You know, it'd take 30 minutes.
And people would still comment that we forgot stuff.
Yeah, we forgot stuff,
First, we don't have everything, and we can't think of everything because there's so many amazing albums.
Right. And we always tend to want to go right onto YouTube, but not all the best stuff is on YouTube at all. So be careful because there are better things out there that you should invest a little bit of money in and listen to, you know.
And sometimes, you know, what? You know the Piazzolla. The Piazzolla album that we love.
Yeah, it's a lady.
Cécile Darroux.
Yeah, Cécile Darroux. That's the performer.
She is
flutist.
I think she's dead.
She's dead.
Now.
She passed away several years ago.
Yeah, that's so sad.
It's a great recorded album.
She was an amazing flutist.
Yeah. But
she was not that known. No. I didn't know her. Like, I went to the CD store, and I said I want a version of that. They gave me a few CDs to listen to. They let us do that.
Because you were listening to Piazzolla stuff. Because she did something about Piazzolla for you, yeah.
I was learning a Piazzolla study, and I thought I'm gonna buy an album and just listen to it. You know. So I went to the store, and that's how I found her, because I said, can I hear your versions? And I heard like 3 versions, and that was the best one. Right. But she was so amazing and not that known. So, like, there might be others that we don't know of that are great. Yeah. But there's publicists and all those things that
push,
what makes some people amazing and never known?
Right, exactly. Know? It's totally true. So I'd be curious.
I think she had a good career, but
maybe,
for the talent that she had, what I heard was just great.
I agree. That's probably one of the best mixed albums in classical music. I thought it's really, really good for ensemble.
It's a Piazzolla album with Cécile Darroux.
I think we could leave it in the description for sure, link to that, because it's really an interesting thing. So I
like the album of with Martha Argerich and
Galway. Oh, yeah, Martha Argerich and Galway, very good album.
Plus Martha Argerich is, I think she's my favorite pianist.
Yeah. So and there's a lot of like Gould's my favorite, but like I like listening to like those types of players in other instruments too to kind of get understanding of style, because every instrumentalist has different interpretations of different styles.
And even going to master classes of other instruments.
Yep.
Even if in your city there's a conservatory or a university, and sometimes
you can learn a lot.
They have those things, and it's open to everyone.
There's open classes, open master classes, or free master classes.
You can just, or sometimes it's $10.
Yeah,
you know?
or
it's usually
you learn a lot from those things. You learn, like for me when I go to those types of things, I always learn a lot about presentation, about how to perform, how to get out there and being in control on the stage, and stuff like that. It's very interesting.
I learned to I kind of refine my teacher skills, because I try to. I'm like, okay, what would I say, and what's this person saying,
and how? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you scout and get information for sure.
Yeah.
And going back to that again is like, what would you say is the most standard repertoire? I know Melody Yee, she was asking that in the community page.
Well, you have a few concertos.
Yeah, there's like the I would say
and
like top 10 is like the 2 Mozart concertos at least, G major and D major, and then Bach sonatas.
Yeah.
Handel
then the
sonata.
French book.
The French book. if you want to count
What
that
is
as
it
one.
called? Like,
French music by French composers, I think.
something
Yeah,
like that.
Louis
It's Louis Moïse.
edited it. Yeah, but it's not him, not the composition.
No,
but
he
it's a
made
collection,
the
yeah.
collection.
Yeah, and that's usually the most standard. That's a standard French repertoire of the 20th century, right? Or 19th and 20th century. No, it's 20th century.
Like beginning of the 20th.
Right.
Yeah, I think.
That's really good. And you can get all the sheet music on Sheet Music Plus, I'm sure, and you can use our code. But yeah, like that.
What's
what else?
the code again?
TFC 15, and
TFC
still only. I think there's only 2 weeks left or 1 week left, and then yeah, I think that's it for that deal. But it's a good deal, and you can definitely get a lot of stuff from that. But yeah, what else? Yeah.
Well, there's 5 ans du Tilleux.
Yeah, that's a bit. Those are like, I would say Poulenc is more above that,
Poulenc is
because
amazing.
Poulenc is like what everybody kind of learns.
You have
Jane
the,
Rudder.
Prokofiev.
Yeah.
Prokofiev was written for flute.
Yeah.
Everyone, not everyone,
But
but
not everyone
sometimes
plays
people
it,
think
though,
it was written for
Violin.
violin.
No.
In the contemporary style, like Takemitsu's pieces are.
Yeah, and Density 21.5.
Yeah.
C-Rings.
Yeah. Also the Handel sonata are so beautiful.
Handel sonatas are in there too. Telemann sonatas. Also
Some
Vivaldi.
The like Blavet concerto. The
Blavet
Quantz
sonatas
concerto.
are really tough, but they're really good.
Quantz concerto,
Yeah.
De Vienne's concertos, like the
yeah,
number
those
7
ones,
is beautiful.
Yeah, a lot of people play those things. I gotta learn those. Even those ones I heard about them, but like
I played
there's not enough time
a
to
few
learn
De
everything.
Vienne,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like big standards are like that, like Bach sonatas and Poulenc. Everyone plays it. It's part of most things.
Poulenc is very beautiful.
And
Martineau.
Yeah. Burton, that's an American one. Burton Sonantina. There's so many, but that's like
Lieberman.
those are. Yeah, Lieberman. Those ones are like those are
It's
advanced.
It's like Chant de Noces by Jolivet. It's so advanced. Or Berlioz Sequenza is part of the canon of the flute, but it's so difficult.
But I mean like the standard rep is in like what most people usually play.
Because not everyone's gonna play the what's his name? He was a conductor as well.
Bernstein?
No.
Bernstein wrote something
French.
for flute. French. No,
Sonatine de Boulez.
Oh, Boulez Sonatina. Yeah.
Like it's part of the flute canon, but
yeah, extraordinarily difficult.
They're difficult, and not everyone likes that type of music either.
No, exactly.
So, Ferrou's 3 pieces.
Yeah, Ferrou 3 pieces, Jade, and all those types of things. Those are people play that a lot. That's in the public domain.
There's U Fantasy.
Yeah, the Who Fantasy.
Takishvili, a lot of people play that.
Eber Concerto, which is Ibert. Eber Concerto, a lot of people play that. Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot. So there's a huge. The standard repertoire is large, and it does keep growing. Like major sonatas are usually written every couple years that are added. Like I know,
and concertos.
And concertos. Like Shmulin Rand wrote some stuff too, and there's so much. Nina Rota wrote stuff too as well.
There's this guy Gary Shocker. We played a piece by him last year. It was so nice.
Shocker writes a lot of sonatas. He writes a lot of stuff. He's a big prolific writer for the flute.
And what's the other? Maya by.
Ian Clark is another one. He's being introduced slowly into the repertoire.
What he writes.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be interesting to hear him like write a sonata and stuff too, just to see how he would evolve on the form. Mm-hmm. You know. And really I know he does use sonata form in the music he plays, but like really a sonata to try to. Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully that helps. We have an article as well and it's a growing list of like standard rep and where to find it, if you can buy it or if it's in the public domain. It's on our website, theflutechannel.com. Here's another good question. Expel Beast wants to know. Actually, they're starting music school and they're very excited but nervous of what to expect. From our experience, was there anything that shocked you in the first year of your undergrad about the people or how quickly different things like ensembles were introduced? And did you have individual lessons at the same time each week? Thanks. We'll start backwards, I think.
Okay. I had individual lessons
too.
Every week at the
same time?
Yeah,
at the same time, yeah. And then ensemble stuff starts right away. You audition and stuff. You do those show up right away.
And then
you get in or not, yeah.
I was very happy and impressed because I thought, wow, it sounds good right away, you know, when I got to that level.
Yeah.
I was so happy about that.
Right.
But it's more, you have to know your stuff. Because first rehearsal, usually, you're not learning the piece, you're playing the piece. And then the conductor will want to work on details, but
exactly.
it almost sounds professional sometimes, some universities.
Yeah. Other things to expect, you know, like, for me, it was about the balance of being social, because in university or in college, you're very, very, very encouraged to be social and to be part of things, and, you know, some schools have party lifestyles and stuff. I would try to, if I knew what I knew now, I would try to not do that as much, and just, because it sort of takes a lot of time out of your day, and then you get overwhelmed and then things get difficult, and then you realize, oh my God, I can't do this. But it's really because you kind of, allocation of time.
You didn't manage your time.
Right, yeah. So I would encourage, you know, focus on your studies. It's a place there to explore your ability as an artist, and be a little bit social, but it is a very, very real thing that I notice with a lot of people, that
it's a
the social
big
circles
workload. I remember
it's a huge workload, and being social and
like
being and stuff like that.
Harmony course, I would put 5 to 8 hours a week on every week,
every
just
week
to do the work well, you know, because I wanted to have good grades and I wanted to succeed, but everything, you know, playing 3 hours, like, managing time is a very important thing, because you don't want to midterm, it's all at the same time. Like, if you wait last minute, you're not going to be able to make it.
Yeah, and I think if you do that, your stress levels will be so low. You know, like you'll if you're able to manage your time well, it's way less, because it's just because I noticed so many people that that was the case. They were more social than they were applying their stuff.
I think maybe the way to see it is I'm building myself right now.
Of course,
I'm investing for my future.
It's an interesting time, right? Because you're a kid. You're still a kid, and then you're sort of an adult. It's this mix-up of, you know, exploring yourself and figuring it out. But there's, like, so many things you can do in that time frame when you're there, you know?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But if you make a schedule and
a schedule can help, for sure.
You know,
and prioritize those times. Have also time for yourself to, like, break times, you know? Have real break times, even... You know,
I remember what I did, and that was so helpful. Let's say I had a music history class. I would during the next 24 to 48 hours, I would sit down and reread my notes and maybe correct them a little bit. And because I had read somewhere that if you do a revision in the next 24 to 48 hours, you'll retain, I don't remember the numbers, but it was like 70%. And if you wait a full week, then you forgot already so much, you know, you remember like 10%.
Yeah.
Okay, don't, like, the percentages are not accurate.
Not finite.
They might be, they might not be, but it was something like, so I thought that's such a good investment of my time to just reread my notes before I go to bed, in my bed. Takes what, 20 minutes, you read that, you go to bed. And then when I had to study for the final exams, it was like a piece of cake, because it was like already ingrained in my memory way better. So that was a little trick that I thought was very helpful. And even when I had my private lesson, I would sit down and just be like, what did she say? Okay, then that's going to be my goal this week, to practice.
Right.
Like, that's a type of organization that makes you save time, actually, because you won't practice just in the in the air. You'll be like, that's my goal, that's what she wanted me to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What was the one thing that shocked you the most in your first year? That really was different from when you were in pre-college and high school?
Shocked me. I don't know. I think... Personally, I thought it would be so difficult that I worked too hard, you know?
I see. You thought it was Right. So it didn't meet the expectation. It was lower, so to
Well,
speak.
no,
No?
just I had first semester I had very good grades
Sure.
because I thought that's gonna be hard.
Because you got to
I have to
you
be
prep like crazy. Yeah,
so
yeah,
I
yeah.
was so intense
Right.
that and then I realized maybe I don't need like I want good grades, but maybe I can
Yeah.
take a
down
breath
bit.
a little bit
Yeah.
because I was a bit nervous about university, and I thought maybe but I think it's better to overestimate
Oh my gosh, yeah.
the workload than underestimate it, you know. Even now, you know, in my life, when I have overestimated myself and being a bit cocky, like, oh, I don't need to practice for this. Usually it didn't.
Right.
Well,
Okay.
sometimes it was okay, but the times where I really didn't like it,
You could
usually it's because I was
Yeah.
a bit cocky. Oh, I don't need to.
Right.
So I tend, like, I learned from those little experiences that were not so cool that
That you should embrace your older self because you're always
Just-
prepping, and that's
let's
it.
just be ready, you know?
Just be ready.
Let's
Yeah.
just be ready, and this way
Right.
you're sure.
Kelly Chu, hopefully I'm pronouncing it right. Can you talk about fast and even fingerings?
Fast and,
And even, you know, I would say metronome helps a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and making like patterns and playing scales and patterns, different types of scales. A metronome can help wonders because it establishes, you know, the foundation.
Yeah. If it's uneven, often it's because you practice fast all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to slow down. And for that, you'll need your metronome because it will keep you from going faster, I think. Because usually uneven fingers, it's because you don't control the fingers anymore because you're
but she
always
was saying
going fast.
how to get even fingers. Yeah, right. So
Yeah.
so it just means yeah.
Well, keep your fingers close to your flute.
Mm-hmm.
Don't lift them too much because you lose time and you lose... So that's the first thing. And then when you practice scales and exercises, pick one for the week maybe and work on it a lot so you develop automatisms with that scale. When you have passages in a piece that are difficult, practice them at different speeds, and you can even practice them with different rhythms. So you change the rhythm, and you can also change the articulation sometimes. If it's slurred, you practice it tongued. If it's... And you use a metronome, you practice different speeds. So not always fast.
No.
And once in a while you go back to slow just to make sure you're in control. And if you have difficulties with your fingers, sometimes focusing more on the fingers that are lifting than on the fingers that are going down is helpful.
That's super helpful.
Because
Yeah,
it's more easy to lower the fingers than to lift them.
That's right.
So you need a little bit more mental energy on those fingers going up. That's what I see for now.
Yeah.
Like when you don't see the person, you have to go with the generalities, you know?
Exactly. What do we got here? Like I said, if you have any questions, let us know in the comments and we'll definitely get to those.
Also, if your fingers are holding the flute, it's not going to be... Like you have to hold the flute in a way that your fingers are not holding it, like except the thumb of the right hand and the... But I mean... The fingers that are actually playing the notes shouldn't be holding the flute. They should be free to move.
Sure, exactly. Michael Lee wants to know what happened to the Flute Center of New York reviews. Oh, we still do them. Like there's like 12 of them on our website, or 12 of them on the channel. But we do them in big sets. So we might go back and do some more if there's enough people interested, and also if we have the time and funds and stuff like that.
Because we have to get there.
Yeah, exactly. So, and if you guys don't know about that, if you're looking for a flute to buy, you have to, and I think you should always go to the Flute Center of New York because they have the largest selection there, and it's pretty amazing. And if you use our code TFC, that directly helps us with the purchase it gives us money so we can do stuff like this. And you get, if you use the code TFC, you get to try up to 3 flutes, and you get to it's free shipping as excuse me, as well.
And you have an extended warranty.
Extended warranty, instead of the 12-month, the traditional 12-month, you have an 18-month one. So this is worldwide. So if you use our code TFC, you can go on Flutes for Sale, the number 4, .com. So flutesforsale.com. You can go there and get some flutes, try them out, see which one you want, and like I say, you can try it up to 10 days. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and they have used and new.
Oh yeah, they have used flutes.
Have
they have used and new flutes. The largest collection. Yeah. They have every brand you can think of, and yeah, it's pretty amazing. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. And then also, like, yeah, it's pretty awesome. Who are? Oh yeah, okay, this was a good one. Do we have any good flute YouTubers that we can recommend? Oh, I don't know. Nina Perlov's all right. Like, her stuff is, she doesn't make any more content really, but she's pretty good. Like, she was my inspiration for a lot of like how to talk about how talking about flute can be something useful on video. It's super interesting. We also subscribe. There's so many different ones.
They do different things.
Yeah, there's so many different ones. Bhavani's nice too. Like, Bhavani does very cool, interesting stuff. Her music videos are very cool. Like, the production value is really interesting. There's so many. There's a lot. You know, there's even like, there's a guy who recently who's Swedish or Finnish, and he's re-uploading all the Marcel Moïse classes that he did in that country in the 60s and 70s. So he's transferring all those cassettes to those things, so you can listen to him teach, and the fidelity is really good. And listen to, I guess, can't remember the channel's name, but if you look on our subscription list, I think our subscriptions, who we subscribe to is public, so you can check out who we subscribe to, and process elimination, you can check which one it is, but I'll leave that in the description when I find it. And I think even our liked videos are public, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I saw that.
Super good, super good. Yeah, and also like Team Recorder, it's not Flute, but she's very good. Team Recorder, the recorder player. I've never seen anybody take the recorder and make it something that is so approachable. You know, everyone's played the recorder, you know, to a certain extent, you know, because of Kodai. Was it Kodai that? No, Orff did it. Yeah. Orff, like, it's like everyone's got to play recorder.
But yeah, we knew there were virtuosos of the recorder.
Of course.
Yeah, it's cool that she brings it to
in the front and center. Yeah, in that form, it's so cool.
Yeah.
I would definitely look at that, because there's a lot of good information about Baroque and stuff like that. Because I think she lives in Europe, so you know they live and breathe that stuff there for Baroque music. So it's good information. There's good information here. There's good information everywhere.
I think right now
I think she's in that world, and it's very interesting when you hear her kind of. It's just the approach. It's just like the way she talks about it. It's very like, it's not a foreign language when she talks about it. It's not like somebody's talking alien to you when you talk about music.
Very
you know,
good, her channel.
It's very interesting. So yeah, those are those two, I think, and those several ones and stuff. Yeah. What else do we got here? So many great questions today. Somebody wants to know what is your zodiac.
My zodiac?
Yeah.
Aries.
Oh, Michael Mendez wants to know, do you practice standing or sitting down on a chair, and what are the impacts of which positions? I usually play standing up.
Yeah.
I usually do.
I like practicing sitting down. I practiced standing up for the first...
I like standing against the wall and practicing. And sometimes I like practicing in the dark.
15 years, the first 15 years I practiced standing. And then I realized, why am I doing that? I can practice sitting down. And just when I'm really practicing for the concert, then I stand up, you know.
Right.
Because I think it depends.
Depends. I don't have like a strict regimen. I just always did that.
In university, who was like, I don't believe in practicing sitting down. I don't believe in practicing and walking around. You have
to sit down all the time. Cello sit down all the time.
Well, in orchestra, you sit down. In chamber music, you sit down. And I don't. You have to stand there and be still and play the flute for like
an hour.
I like walking around when I practice.
Oh yeah, I walk around when I practice as well too.
And why shouldn't I? You know. that was so stressful. There's one way to do it. It's like this, and why is that? I never got the answer, but I think whatever makes you feel comfortable, you know. I feel I get less tired, and then I can practice a bit longer like that. And sometimes I feel like standing up. Sometimes I feel like sitting down. Of course, if I'm practicing for a concert and the concert is next week, I'm gonna start practicing a few times standing up.
Right.
The whole
just get the feel of it and stuff like that. Yeah, just get the feel of it, because like,
But when I'm learning the piece, usually I'm sitting down.
Right.
You like standing?
I like standing, and sometimes I like playing against the wall so I can reposturize myself and stuff, so I know that things are where they're supposed to be for me. And I like playing in the dark. I'm a heavy advocate about playing in the dark sometimes, so that you can really kind of just listen of what the sound is like and how you can control it and stuff, because we're constantly bombarded with distractions sometimes, and we kind of get in the zone, but sometimes we put some things on autopilot that we could work on while we're
You feel you're more aware.
Yeah, exactly.
I used to learn all my stuff by heart.
Oh, not necessarily.
And play by memory.
Right.
Because I thought I was more aware. Because I was just relying on my ears and my memory.
Yeah.
I was not using my eyes.
Right. It wasn't a memory technique. It was just, but yeah.
No, but
Right,
if you're in the
I
dark,
understand
you're
what
not
you mean.
reading.
Yeah, you're not reading.
So
Yeah,
it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
So when I was younger,
I have a photographic memory,
that
so maybe it's something different.
because
yeah.
I didn't. Well, you still can't read if you're in the dark.
Unless I can see it in my brain.
That's how.
Yeah.
You're playing by memory then.
Right. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're just saying the same thing as I'm saying, but
I guess.
yeah. So yeah, it was. I felt I was more aware of what I was doing. I don't need that anymore, though.
But some people play by ear. I just want to go back to that. People also play by ear and don't know how to read sheet music, so there is by ear and then by memory, like seeing it without even seeing it. It's crazy.
But it ends up being the same thing.
Yeah. True. Oh, end results always. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So hopefully that helps. The impacts of which positioning. Well, there's like, if you know how to sit properly in a chair, like there's Alexander technique, which teaches you how to sit in a chair and how to get out of a chair and how to do different things like that. You know.
Yeah. You have to keep a good
I don't like
posture
watering that down, but
no matter what, you know. We have a pretty good video about posture, and I think it teaches standing and sitting. And even for me, I have like my feet are not so great. So sitting down, usually my posture is a bit better, I think, for the long term.
Somebody was saying Machiavellian exercises in Trevor Wise books are very good for even fingers. Yeah, the Machiavellians, I use those once for a couple times.
But they're advanced.
They're super advanced, and I think there's even more easier.
Because I don't know the level of the person who asked the question.
Right. Yeah. I think the book, the Taffanel Gobert book is good. You know, that can be approached to beginners as well.
Yeah, and I think we don't have to work on that much technique. Like once you know your major, minor scales, arpeggios, and scales in thirds.
Yeah.
Like, then you can play pieces, I guess.
Yeah, that's true.
Because what's gonna happen next? You know, you can build your technique playing repertoire as well.
Yeah.
And studies and, you know.
German Hills, he wants to know, I've always used cigarette paper to clean my pads. I saw your Flute Myth video. Are you saying not to dry your pads? Sorta. Like, the way people have been taught to do this is to bring this cigarette paper. And you shouldn't use cigarette paper. You should try to get the Yamaha makes a pad thing that's pretty much pretty... Because there's glue on it. And the way they produce it, there's glue on it. And you're going to get glue on your pads. Yeah. By mistake, you never know. Even if you don't get the glue side, there's actually glue particulates on the whole entire thing in the factory process. So don't use cigarette paper. But when you put say the Yamaha cleaning papers, you put that there, people have been taught to close it, then pull. You don't close and pull. You just close, release. And then you take it out. Yeah. And then you take it out without it touching the pads. Because you're introducing friction, and those bladder pads or whatever type of pads you have, unless you have special pads, but most pads, friction, you lose material, and then eventually they split, and then they rip, and then that's it, and then you're done. So if there's a lot of moisture, usually pads don't get sticky. They only get sticky when you've eaten something sweet before, drunk something sweet, any of those types of things. Because usually the condensation goes right down the tube where there's no pads. It bypasses the A flat key and everything like that. It's supposed to be a steady stream. And then you technically the pads don't react towards that because the condensation doesn't go up to the risers.
Let's say you took your flute upside down.
Right, if you hold it differently.
If you don't hold it the right way, then
exactly.
it goes on the
right,
pads.
and that goes to how you should hold the flute.
You should hold it
because you can cause huge problems
with the keys on top all the time.
Right, exactly, because though that liquid could go into your A flat key if you hold it wrong, or in another, or in your foot joint where E flat is, and then you get water in there, and then you can't play anything, and then you have to blow out the you have to do the clarinet thing, blow out the liquid. So yeah, that's really it. Just make sure you don't close and pull. You close, release, pull, and you only do it once or twice, and then eventually it'll go away. If it doesn't go away right away, wait a little bit. If it's still the exact same type of stickiness, get a new fresh or another side of that paper
Maybe
and do it
also
again.
just clean your flute. Take it apart and take all the water out.
Right. But I mean, the sticking is coming from the.
I know, but because maybe if there's already a lot of moisture.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, you can definitely also clean it out so it has a better chance of not absorbing more moisture, because once a pad is absorbing, it continues to absorb if there's liquid. So, definitely, please. That's why I made that video. So I was like, people are doing it wrong, and some people use dollar bills, and some people use things that have ink and abrasives, and it's really bad for pads. Really bad for pads. Cigarette pads is a very, very, very bad one to use. What else is there? That's good. Different impacts, blah, blah, blah. Sorry. Ooh, people prefer standing up. Some people... Which is nicer? Offset G open hole or inline G open hole? Depends on your hand.
Yeah.
Matthew?
Yours is offset.
Mine's offset.
Mine is inline.
And I'm still not happy with offset. I really want it even more offset. I wanted it so offset so that I can, sometimes I just can't get them in specific spots. Like, there's some flutes that keys are actually moved differently and are completely ergonomic.
Flute
And even Alexa has extended keys that are soldered, jewelry soldered on some of the keys, and other people I know too, that do that so that it's completely ergonomic to where the hand is, so the hand doesn't have to, the fingers don't have to reach, because you add tension when you reach.
Oh, yeah.
And you really want to have a flute that really fits your natural hand position. Once you find what that is, and then
it's super important. It's more natural, the offset G.
Yeah, so for some people, some big tall people and people with large hands, inline works perfectly because they have, and also it depends on where you're from, because different parts of where you're from in different parts of the world, your hands are differently made. Like, some fingers are longer than other people's fingers, I've noticed.
Oh yeah, but it's also linked to some hormones during the pregnancy. The length of the fingers.
That too. Yeah.
If you have more estrogen or more testosterone during that specific time, some fingers will be longer and some. But for me, because I started on an inline G and never had problems, I always kept it that way. Because when I take a offset. I usually don't, because my brain is used to putting my finger in a certain place, and then it's different.
Absolutely.
So I'm like, why would I change that? If it works fine for me, I don't have a problem with that.
Exactly.
But
yeah,
I think
neither is better.
If I was
they both
starting now, maybe I would use the offset because it's probably more ergonomic,
but sound-wise, it's really the same. Sound-wise, identical. So it doesn't improve sound or anything like that. What else we got here? I'll probably get Strawbridgers with my next flute. Yeah, Strawbridger pads are all right. They're expensive, and I like traditional pads still very much, and they're cost-effective and they're cheap, and they keep the sound the way I like it. I've actually the flute I had, I converted it from regular pads to Straubinger, then reconverted it back to regular pads, and I think it even sounds better now with regular pads than it ever did with Straubinger pads. Yeah, it's very interesting. But there's also other pads that are synthetic. These are all synthetic types of pads, not the felt pads. So these are like really, they have to be perfectly flat. And, you know, most flutes, unless you're at the super high level handmade, they're not. The tone holes are not flat. There's real impurities in the craftsmanship, even $10,000 flutes. So they have to individually grind and lose material on each tone hole to make them perfectly flat for those pads to even work. Because if there's one single thing wrong,
so then each time you change them, you get some of that metal.
It depends on the wear, right? Depends on how much is worn out. Usually, when you re-get those types of pads, those synthetics, it's usually a quick process. But yeah, there's but it's really the converting it, if it's from a flute system, because some flute makers like Brannon and other people like that, they make the flute specifically for those pads, so they already they try to make those tone holes as flat and as possible.
But if your flute was not meant to be like that,
converting it
I understand.
Converting it can be a blessing and a curse.
Yeah. It's a risk.
It's a risk. It's a real risk because you lose material for sure. You lose silver material on the flute. When you lose material, less response, a lot of things. You lose response. You don't gain. Sometimes you gain, but it all depends where. But in those respects, you don't. That's in my experience at least.
So it shouldn't be an end in itself to have Straubinger pads.
Yeah, exactly. I still think
depends on your flute and
I think
brand and all those things.
I think most people are a bit picky though, but I mean, like, felt pads are amazing too. You can't go wrong with felt pads. They've been around forever. What else do we got here? Less control when no. What flutes do we own? Oh, okay, yeah. We own a couple flutes. We own like 2 Yamaha flutes. You have a Sankoi flute and a piccolo. And a Sankoi, not a Sankoi piccolo, the Yamaha piccolo. So we have 3 Yamahas.
Flute is a Sankoi.
Sankoi alto, yeah, amazing flute.
Yeah.
And you have a Sankoi regular flute too, like a Sankoi.
Yeah, with a Wimberley head joint. Yeah.
So we have like 5, 6 flutes, 7 flutes ish. 5 flutes.
We want a bass flute eventually.
Yeah, we want a bass flute. Yeah. Whenever that happens.
When we will have money for that.
Yeah, exactly. What else do we got here? What do you think? Okay, what do you think of a professional or very advanced student playing a beginner instrument? Oh, I know. I don't. People do that. A lot of doublers do that. I knew a guy in an orchestra in Europe that played on a Yamaha 221 in orchestra his whole career.
That was a professional.
Yeah. And he's playing in an orchestra.
Like we tried
doublers too.
We tried a few flutes that were different price range.
Yeah.
And I think if the flute is well maintained, the real problem is when a flute doesn't, when it doesn't close very well, when it's not well adjusted.
Yeah.
Then it's a problem.
Yes.
But if it's a good flute and it's well maintained and it closes well, the mechanism is solid and it's moving well and it's, you don't want to against it. But if it's smooth and I don't know.
I also know people who play on old Hayneses that were budget Hayneses, back in the day. Still plays great. Like that one we played on a Haynes from the 1950s that was for sale at Twig, remember? And it was great sounding.
Had a special sound.
Had a really special sound, totally. Yeah. It all depends, right? So, yeah. And like the flutes being built now by the main companies like PAL and all those things, for budget is actually extremely great quality. Like that flute, if you put 100 years ago, would be the best flute of that time. Let's understand that, It's really that. The craftsmanship is super high now.
But I've seen students that had real bad flutes. So it's not just the level.
Like
it's
Demichi.
It's not that it's beginner flute. It's a bad flute.
It's a bad flute, yeah. It's not made well.
It's not made well, or it's broken, and it would be so expensive to fix. And then when they change to a better one, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Everything gets better, and their motivation to play as well. Because if you're fighting against the instrument and you're better than your instrument, and you can't get the sound that you should get, and you have to press hard to get the. No, it's like that. Where's the pleasure? You know, you have to have an instrument that's gonna make you happy.
Yeah, Vintage H Flute. He said he bought a G extension plug, so a plug that I guess you plug in and extends it.
I saw that.
Yeah, for his Haynes flute, and he said it was a big improvement. Yep, those things are, you know, the modifying your flute should be encouraged if you're feeling pain, if you're feeling these types of things, because the flute is made for a particular hand, you know, like the way it is.
It's
like
not even made for a human being.
That's not even made for you. Yeah, it's really not
know?
made. Yeah, it's a crazy instrument.
It's not like.
Yeah. Exactly.
Really? Who thought of that position?
Seriously.
You know? Whatever can help.
Yeah,
to
really.
Feel better.
Let's not do that.
Why would we make ourselves suffer if we can be more comfortable? There's no point in suffering.
German Hales wants to know, and I think you're going to have lessons with him next week.
Oh, yeah.
He wants to know about soldered versus drawn tone holes.
Herman.
Sorry, Herman. Sorry, because it's right. You're right.
Herman.
Sorry. Herman. He wants to know soldered versus drawn tone holes. Is there any real difference other than manufacturing? Yeah, there's a big difference, because those drawn and drawn tone holes and soldered tone holes are soldered on, so and drawn are actually pushed. So if you drawn tone holes on the press, it's actually being pressed from the original tube up, so it's stretching the silver or the metal around the joints there, which is causing big tension. So when you play, the momentum and stuff reacts differently than when they just have a tube. They cut a hole in it, they don't press anything, and then they bring another little small piece, which is the tone hole, and they solder it there, and that way all the tension in that metal tube is way less than when they press it and stretch the metal out.
So you get a better sound, I guess?
Yes, you get a better sound, and the tone.
My flute doesn't have that.
Nah, let me see. No. Pretty sure it's not. Yeah. But it all depends, you know. That's But I mean, in respect, it's really.
Can you really
it's
hear
it's to make flutes faster. That's why they did that process.
Yeah.
Make flutes faster.
But they're still good flutes.
Oh, they're still excellent flutes. There are a lot of great flutes that are built that way. The techniques are different from maker to maker on how they do drawn tone holes and solder tone holes. Like I said, with soldered.
So you could have a flute that's drawn tone holes that would sound better than a soldered tone hole.
Yeah,
flute.
it's super possible.
Depending
of course.
on how it was made.
Exactly.
It's not just the technique; it's the person.
Yeah, it's the person.
Or
exactly.
The maker.
Because I don't know all their processes, but with soldered, it's really a matter of the tube itself is not being disturbed. It's just really being cut holes, so it's really that. And also, solder tone holes have the cups. They're more the attention to it being very flat is a lot more than with a drawn, because when you draw it, you're drawing out, but there's impurities, and then you gotta fix the impurities and like of the evenness and stuff like that. So all depends. Yeah. But they're not necessarily better, like we said. It all depends on a lot of different things.
Yes, that's one aspect of the flute making.
Yeah.
But there's so much more.
Exactly. What else is here? Can you say anything about the Breuger system? I've only just heard about it. It's been around for a while. I played on a couple Breuger flutes. Breuger system is like pinless system. If I'm not mistaken. No, Breuger mechanic is the mechanic. That's what Miyazawa does, I think. And it's pinless, so there's less.
That's not what they use also, Brandon?
Brandon uses Breuger, yeah. And it's just it's a pinless mechanism, so it's a lot more expensive to repair because it's different.
There's less
way of friction. Yeah, there's less friction, less moving parts. They actually remove, I think, I think really they remove two or three
what you can
pieces.
pick faster, I guess.
It's just mechanisms fast. It moves faster. So like left hand is a bit faster. Left thumb, all those types of things.
So everything's gonna be.
Yeah, everything's just gonna go lickety split quicker, and aesthetically it looks different. There's less material. From what I saw, but there's 3 or 4 different types of Breuger styles, I guess, or 2 or 3. But it's a new type of. It's not really new because there has been pinless mechanisms built before, but this one, yeah, it's been whatchamacallit, what's that word? Advertised so well so that everyone knows about it. It's been around for a while though, but yeah, Breuger's really it's an interesting system. It's expensive, yeah.
Yeah, that's always.
It's always a thing, right?
It's like when you get an expensive car, usually it's more expensive to repair as well because
Yeah.
parts are more expensive. Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a good system. It's just.
Yeah. Exactly.
If money is not a problem.
Yeah. And there's other, yeah,
Just go for
exactly.
it.
And there's other pinless mechanisms, but they're not named Breuger, that are different companies that do it. Like
that are a bit similar.
Yeah, similar. Yeah, exactly. They all have different, I think even Muramatsu had one.
Because
like
it's like a patented thing, so they have the name attached
Absolutely.
to it. So maybe another company wants to do something similar, but they'll patent a bit differently.
I guess so. Yeah, yeah. I'm not
So
sure.
they don't have to
I'm not
pay
sure
the-
what these companies do.
No, I'm just
No.
trying to.
Yeah.
I'm just
Right.
thinking out loud.
Thinking out loud, exactly. What else do we got here? If we missed any questions in the chat, please re-say them because I can't go up and
Yeah,
down. It's
sometimes
it's a bit tough to read through all of them. Really good flute. What do we got here? Mendez pressing on the keys. I think that's about it. If we did miss something, please do that so that we will look at it. But I'll just look here. I think that's all. Everything. That's what was the other thing that I saw one that was a really good question. I just can't remember where it is. Oh, how does someone get hired for an orchestra?
So there's usually a post that's they put an audition and
Right, and
notice,
there's a
like-
great website for that too.
Well, usually if you're part
musicalchairs.info.
of the guild
Right.
or the union,
Yeah.
you get those notifications
Yeah.
from professional orchestras,
Usually, yeah.
and you don't at least here in Quebec, the guild, they don't ask anything. They don't ask for degree or any.
No.
You just pay.
Just show up and pay.
You just pay.
You pay
and you're
the
part of the guild.
yeah, and also yeah.
And then you get all those notices of
Yeah.
orchestral auditions,
Yeah.
and then you send your resume usually to the orchestra because they want to have people who they don't want to lose their time with people who can't play. They want a minimum. And then they say yes, and then they send you they send you the repertoire. You practice and you go there.
Right.
And then you audition usually behind a screen.
Yeah. Here with the guild, it's very different than the rest of North America and Europe.
Okay.
It's a lot of it is really independent.
Okay.
So there's a website called musicalchairs.info, which has the whole world. And most of the time in other places, you have to pay to audition.
Oh, yeah.
So there's like audition fees. Like it's not much. It's probably maybe $15-$20 sometimes.
Okay.
You know, and you have to sometimes you have to email them. You have to go on their website of the orchestra themselves, register, send them a payment. Then you get your audition time. They'll tell you what you need to learn. Like you said, it's very similar. But a lot of people, use that musicalchairs.info if that's still what it is, and it's very, very good. It shows even competitions, but it shows every single country. You can pick the country, and it'll show you what's available right now. So yeah, that's and sometimes they're blind. Most of them are blind, which
what
is
I've seen is because usually there's more than one turn.
Yeah, there's several rounds, right?
Rounds,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, rounds, right.
And so you do the first one, and then they pick a few people for the second one. Sometimes there's 3. I've never seen more than 3. One or usually 2 or 3. And sometimes the last round is without a screen. I've seen that.
Yeah, I've seen those two as well. Usually the final round's usually unscreened.
Yeah.
Somebody said they've seen an 8-foot recently. Yeah, there's actually a guy on Facebook. He's a maker in Japan, and he's actually making these gigantic.
B flat.
Like A, G, B,
almost,
F, like
well,
several
now
keys.
You
Like
don't need to buy an alto
No.
flute anymore.
but it's so big. Like one was about that big and had 8 keys on it, and then 9 keys, and then 10 keys. And that's being recently built, and like he had to put it on a tripod to be able to play it because
Yeah,
it
'cause
was
it's
just
heavy
it's just too long. Like it's
Yeah.
very weird because your hands are only here and the rest. It's like
Yeah.
having another body on that side that your hand's not there. You're just controlling like 10 different keys
Yeah,
on
so
your.
it's
But imagine micromanaging your pinky to do 10 different keys. You know,
It's a lot
you
for a
you
pinky.
gotta micromanage it. It was really an interesting flute. I think it's called Aeolian,
But
something like
I
that.
was wondering because I'm learning a piece
No,
by Doppler right
Aeoli.
now, and there are B flats, and they're like B flats.
Yes.
One.
Yeah. Yes.
And my flute stops at the B.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, did the Dopplers have a B flat on
They
their
certainly
flutes?
did. Yeah.
That was. I wanted to ask you that.
Yeah. You
So
should put a
they-
piece of paper. Just tape a piece of paper around it. Just tape a piece of paper about 2 inches, 3 inches, and you'll get B flat.
Yeah, whatever.
But some people also just
There's an
put,
alternate
They also
thing.
there's an alternate. But a lot of people do that. But yeah, there definitely was. Back then they were just making flutes for whatever. It wasn't, and it was so cheap back then for those types of people. It was just like yeah. The jeweler would just, or the maker would just make it.
Yeah.
Like, here you go. And they would have boxes. Like I think the Dopplers, they had a suitcase full of different things.
Yeah,
you know?
foot joints and.
Exactly. So, yeah. What is the live orchestra scene? What is the live orchestra scene where you live? Well, here in Montreal, we have 2 or 3 orchestras.
Well, we have even more than that.
Yeah.
If you think about it,
Yeah,
but
we
there's
have a lot of
OSM,
orchestra.
which is a
Yeah, or
World-class
the
orchestra?
Montreal. Yeah, the Montreal Orchestra.
MSO in English, Montreal
Yeah,
Symphony Orchestra.
Montreal Symphony Orchestra.
And then you have Orchestre Metropolitain.
Yeah, the Metropolitan Orchestra. Yeah,
Then you have
a lot of
few
pocket orchestras.
for-
Yeah.
and then you have other professional orchestras that are just in the outskirts,
Right.
like the South Shore and then
Yeah.
the North Shore.
Yeah.
And
But they have full
every
seasons,
region
yeah.
has a little orchestra.
Yeah.
and-
OSM is the only one that has a true full season, which is like 3 times a week almost. Like they have
Oh,
stuff all
yeah.
the time.
Yeah, and where you. Yeah, all the other
Mhm.
ones, for musicians it's tough, because yeah, you don't play that much, and yeah, you don't get that much.
Mhm.
But OSM, yes,
Mhm.
they're good.
Yeah.
They have the good job.
Yeah. So yeah, before we answer a couple more questions, I just want to make sure let everybody know about a couple things. And the first thing is obviously Flute Center of New York. If you guys want a new flute, we mentioned that before. And if you're looking for a new flute, go to Flutes for Sale, the number 4.com, flutesforsale.com, and you can use our code TFC. They have the largest collection of new and used flutes in the world, so you can try up to 3 flutes with them using our code and try it up for 10 days, up to 10 days. And once you pick your flute, you get an extended warranty of up to 2. You have an 18-month warranty. So be sure to check them out at flutesforsale.com. And then also we have our Patreon. You can check us out on patreon.com. We're revamping it, but it's definitely something that you should, if you want to help us more, you should consider doing that there, where you can do a monthly donation as little even as $1. And that helps us make more content. So you can go to patreon.com/theflutechannel, and that's there. Also, Emily's opening up her online studio. You already have a couple of students already.
Yeah.
So you can email us for that at info@theflutechannel.com, and we can let you know all about that information for having an online lesson with her. You can buy packages. There's all different types of options for different types of people, and it's a lot of fun. You've been liking it. It's pretty good.
I like it.
Yeah.
I love teaching, so.
Yeah, teaching. Yeah, it's you
The
love it.
Skype thing is new for me, but it works.
Yeah, it works
well.
it works super well, and yeah, it's really great. And then also we have our flute festival, which is in about 1 month,
Yeah.
a little under a month, which is the Montreal Flute Festival. You can go to montrealflutefestival.com, where you can sign up if you want to come. We still have positions available. It's a 3-day festival, August 15th, 16th, and 17th. That's a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And it's only $250. It's pretty fun. It's our third one. We do it every summer. And Alexa Still will be there, who's from Oberlin Conservatory, who's a great teacher and very nice person. And Emily will also be there teaching as well, the morning classes as well.
And we have a concert.
And we have a
at the
concert
end.
on the end as well. It'll be a nice gala concert as well. And it's in the heart of Montreal. So if you feel that there's something you want to go and do for the summer last minute trip, this is definitely something that's very affordable and very fun. And you get to learn. You can choose to play. You can also choose not to play. It doesn't matter. It's the same price for both. It's just a first come first serve of who wants to if you actually want to play. So there's still some positions left for master classes, which is a group. It's like a group lesson. Like you play in front of your peers.
In the afternoon.
Yeah, and in the morning it's a real group lesson with everyone playing together. Sometimes
Sometimes just questions, a bit like this.
Yeah, exactly.
But live, and I can actually see the person, and
get you on stage and actually do things sometimes,
Or sometimes if people are shy, they can.
Some people do, some people don't, or they just stand where they are. Yeah, that's true.
Sometimes they stay where they are.
Totally.
Sometimes they stand.
It's so organic. It's crazy.
It's a bit improvised.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
I prepare stuff too.
Yeah,
I prepare a
that's
little
not the right way.
warm-up, and I prepare. But I'm very open to.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's organic.
It's organic. Exactly. So yeah, you can definitely check that out at MontrealFluteFestival.com. And sign up if you're interested.
Because, it's all about the people who are there, we're there for them. So that's why I want to keep an open mind.
Absolutely.
Because I want to give them what they want. If I come in knowing already what's going to happen, then there's no place for them in a way, So I leave a little space for that.
That's it. So we got about 3 more questions. We'll do about 3 or 4 more questions, and then that'll be the end of the podcast today. Thanks for everybody who's listening and who's watching right now. You guys are amazing. It's awesome. Al Rimorin, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Let's say I am an adult beginner. Can I get a step-up, intermediate, or pre-professional flute so I don't spend twice the amount for upgrading from a beginner flute?
Yeah.
Of course.
Totally.
Yep, totally.
I have a student who changed her flute, and then at first she wanted a cheaper flute, and then when she got there she fell in love with the flute that was a bit more expensive, but she thought, whatever, I'll have it for my whole life. Like, you can't get much better than that, and she's super happy. I think it was a good move, because you lose when you sell and you rebuy, and yeah, if you like one and you have the budget, why not?
Totally.
Instead of losing money going back and forth.
Yeah, exactly. You can definitely talk. Like I said, call the Flute Center of New York. They talk. They're all flutists there. They all know what they're talking about. They can help you with selecting stuff over the phone as well. And then you can still use our code even over the phone.
Yeah.
And don't forget to use our code TFC, please. It helps us a lot. And so hopefully that helps. What else do we guys got? The masterclass. It's 3 days long, August 15th, 16th, 17th, MontrealFluteFestival.com. Drive up here and get a hotel, Airbnb, hang out with us. We get to hang out all together for 3 days. It's a lot of fun, and full days of flute. It's pretty cool. So yeah, MontrealFluteFestival.com. Okay. I'm planning to become a music YouTuber soon. Any advice? Okay, yeah. There's people ask me that a lot.
Right?
Yeah. People ask that a lot, especially live when I go to those YouTube events and stuff. Be consistent. Do what you really enjoy and just do that. That way you'll be at least as happy as you can be when you're actually doing those things. That helps. Look at other YouTubers, try to get inspiration from how they do things, deconstruct how they do things, learn online. Most of the things can be learned online in regards to video production. And remember, you're making content that's going to necessarily be read on a small little screen. So not many people watch on a desktop anymore. They usually just watch on their phone or tablet. So don't get too crazy about how your gear and stuff like that. A lot of gear can make good quality phone stuff. Like what you already have, an
Yeah,
iPhone
most
or
people
something
are
like
not
that.
gonna watch on a TV.
No, they're not. Yeah. If you,
12, 4K.
exactly, at 4K and 8K and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly. If you have like an iPhone, get a tripod that can have the iPhone connect on there so it's perfectly steady. That way you're gonna have an image that's gonna work really well.
I think the sound too.
And sound, because if
What-
you're doing a music thing, if you're doing a
Yeah.
music, that's where you're gonna invest the most amount of money.
What bugs me the most when I watch on YouTube, when I watch something and it's the sound. The
Oh, yeah.
image I can deal
Oh
with
yeah,
it.
the image could be horrible, but if the sound is
Oh,
amazing, I'll watch. I'll still listen. You know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the other way around. If it's a great image and it sounds awful, I'm done. I'm not gonna watch
because
that.
it's kind of. I guess we're all lazy. You know, it's an extra effort to be like, what are they saying? What are and yeah. So I lose interest when the sound is not good.
Exactly. So yeah, invest in a good microphone. Short condenser microphones are good, and also long shotgun microphones are good for video because you can put them right in the right before the shot begins, and that way you can really get your good sound. Or clip on. Some people do clip on; they really like that too. But yeah, there's a lot of great videos out there that teach you how to basically start up and get your skills up on how to. If you're making like a music theory course, maybe you're going to be doing stuff with After Effects and stuff like that. You want to kind of learn those things a little bit. But yeah, just be consistent as well. You know, make a schedule that's realistic to you. If you only release once a month, make sure that video's the best video you can make that month. If you can make 4 a month, that's great too. But don't make so many that you're gonna be stressed. Because you're sharing this knowledge that you have, this appreciation or love or whatever type of thing it is. You want to show that. Hopefully that helps. Can you say something about transitioning from advanced student to professional? Anyone can get paid to play, but actually sounding professional is a different thing.
Well, I think usually it's a smooth transition in the way that
I think so too. I
You
don't think there's a
start getting-
defining moment at all.
Yeah.
There never was for me, no defining moment.
and you start getting paid. Like I started getting paid to play quite young.
Yeah, me too.
Playing different little
Yeah.
things, but
Sort of the business sense of it kind of kicking in, you know. You gotta be like, this is what I'm worth, you know, and you...
it's about the attitude too.
Yeah,
Because you know,
that is it.
you
Yeah,
would think
totally.
that
Yeah.
us as musicians, we really analyze everything. But for a non-musician, you can sound professional even if you're not, in a way, you know? I don't want to... I still think we should get the best sound and do the...
Sure.
But, you know, I think being confident and being professional in our attitude as well is something.
Exactly.
Because sometimes when we're only with other musicians, we overanalyze maybe, and maybe that cuts on our confidence. Another thing I think is we wait for others to tell us that.
Oh yeah, that
we
it's
are-
time.
that
Yeah,
it's
you have to get.
time.
Don't let validation is for parking.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, validation is for parking.
And if you wait for that,
If you're playing with professionals, my thing is like when you're playing with other professionals, that's when you know if there's anything like that. You know, when you're starting to play with people that are at your level, that are at high level, you're in that realm now. You're there.
Yeah.
You're there.
Well, I had a teacher at one point who said, "You know, I really like giving you lessons, but you're a professional now. You're virtuoso. You don't have to come here."
Yeah, because the word virtuoso or what's the other super word? Any of those words, those are like, you know, we put a big thing on that, but it's actually just being able to play everything you need to play. You know,
Yeah.
like it's not this. Oh, he's a prodigy, so he's a virtuoso. No, it's
No,
virtuoso is the word to tell that you can play.
you can play anything on your instrument.
Yeah.
You master your
You
instrument.
master your instrument. That's it.
Yeah.
There's
so
no
he told me,
prodiginess to it.
you can come back if you want. I like you, but you don't need to. You can. You're creative. You have all the skills. Just go in the real world and play. You know. But he was nice enough to tell me.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't have to wait for approval or, because. Yeah, that's not really gonna happen, I think. Except if you win a orchestral position somewhere. But there's so many other ways to be a musician that you can build your own career. But if you want to build something, then you have to do it yourself. No one's going to be like, you're good enough now, go and do it. You have to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's everything for today. Guys were great today. Thanks so much for taking part. This was awesome.
Thank you.
Like I said, be sure to check us out every other week. We do this every other week. And next week will be just practicing. I think hopefully it will be something. We'll see what we'll do. We'll see what
Hopefully
we'll
I'll
do.
be practicing something.
Yeah, maybe an Esco, maybe Saint-Saëns, maybe Vivaldi. Who knows? Because we have some music videos that are going to be coming out in the future. Also, a lot of content will be coming out from the festival as well. We're going to hopefully be live streaming some stuff. Not all of it, but some of it. But that's a big maybe. But we have other stuff coming out as well, which is great. We've got some episodes done that we're going to put out. And yeah, so we do this every other week. And then next week is another Just Practicing around the same time, every Sunday. I think everyone likes Sunday.
Yeah.
And it will be actually the next podcast we do will be our 20th podcast.
Oh, that's cool.
We've done 20 already. Crazy. 20 podcasts.
So productive.
So productive. Everyone else, you go out there and be productive too.
Yeah,
if you have stuff too.
Thanks for
thanks
being
for being here. Yeah.
Be productive.
Exactly. And if you guys have also videos and stuff, we love seeing some of your videos of how you guys play and stuff like that. Leave them down in the comments. Let us know in the comments when this video is done. If you have anything new, anything that you guys want to share and stuff, or if you have any recommendations of what we should do next or talk about next, let us know down in the comments. And if you're new here and you haven't subscribed yet, you just found us, be sure to hit subscribe. And be sure to like this video as well. If you haven't liked it already, that makes a big help. And also be sure to comment again down below. That also helps us as well. So yeah, I'm Nick.
And I'm Amélie.
See you guys.
Thanks.
Bye.